The Los Angeles Lakers and New Orleans Pelicans have agreed to a trade. Anthony Davis for Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, 3 first-round picks. Anthony Davis, 6-time All-Star, making a move to Cali. Let's welcome in Charles Barkley, and let's get right down to business. Anthony Davis traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. What does that do for the balance of power out west and for the Lakers as far as making them contenders for next season?
Well, obviously, it's the worst-kept secret in the history of pro sports. You knew he was going to go to the Lakers at some point. I think New Orleans did as good as they could do under the circumstances. Listen, you got LeBron, you got AD. You're in the conversation. Because this thing has just flipped on its head the last week with KD out for next year, Clay out probably for next year also. But listen, they're going to have to put some pieces around these guys. I mean, they gave up a lot, so it makes them a power player in the West. But I still like Portland. I like Denver. The Rockets are going to be right there. So this doesn't make them automatically the favorite.
You mentioned a lot of those very talented teams that, showed that they had a lot of championship prowess in the playoffs this postseason. But looking at the Lakers and thinking that they have $32 million in cap space going forward, what do you think is their biggest position of need, or what do you think they need to do to fill out the rest of this roster?
Well, they're going to need some shooting. I mean, the Lakers were the worst. I think I saw a stat. I think they were the worst three-point shooting contest team in the league. But like I say, listen, when you got Kyle Kuzma, LeBron and Anthony Davis, you can find some spare parts. There's going to be some guys who want to play in L.A., just for the lifestyle. But like I say, it doesn't make them the prohibitive favorite right off the bat. I don't believe that at all.
Hey, Chuck, with the guys they have right now, as you look at it, they have their front line, if they wanted to, in place with LeBron. He can go 3-4. Anthony Davis can go 4-5. Kuzma could go 2-3. So you could go Kuzma, LeBron, Anthony Davis up front, but their backcourt now has a ton of gaps. When you look who's out there, Kemba Walker's out there, Derrick Rose is out there. They could bring back Rajon Rondo. Bledsoe's a free agent. Kyrie is a player's option. What do you like as far as a match there for them?
Well, it's clear there's going to be some on the perimeter. They need some guards. I mean, they got no guards as we speak right now. So it's going to be interesting. This is going to be an interesting summer for the NBA. There's so many guys who on TV and radio have been lying for the last 6 months, saying somebody from their camp told me they're going here, 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 or here. So it's been a lot of lying on TV and radio the last 6 months, Mike, with all these reporters making up stuff. But clearly the Lakers need some perimeter help in the guard position, a 1-2. But like I say, they got this. That doesn't mean they're going to get these guys just because they're out there. I mean, Kemba's in a unique situation. You got Jimmy Butler out there. You got Kyrie. I mean, this thing is going to be crazy for the next couple months.
Well, we've talked a lot about the Lakers. On the Pelicans side of things, clearly they got younger, and it looks like they're going into the movement of youth with Lonzo Ball. Zion Williamson sounds exciting. Brandon Ingram showed some promise this year. How do you like the pieces that they got back, particularly those draft picks, including the 4th pick in this draft?
Well, I think it's as good as they could do. I mean, I think those guys are going to play well with Zion. I'd use that 4th pick. I might probably trade Drew Holiday because he's an older guy, and we're clearly building for the future. He's a very good player, Drew Holiday is. But, you're clearly going with a youth movement. And, one guy nobody is talking about is DeAndre Hunter from Virginia. Everybody's talking about, I know Zion is going to go number 1, but after getting a chance to watch this kid play at March Madness multiple times, you think about it. Virginia had the worst upset in college basketball history last year. What was the only thing they added to the team? DeAndre Hunter. And they win the national championship, and he's the most valuable player. So all these teams out there, don't be sleeping on DeAndre Hunter. But listen, to get back to your original point, David Griffin did the best he could under the circumstances. I like where they're going. They got a bunch of good young pieces. They're building for the future. So if you're a Pelican fan, you got to be happy.
Now, switching back to the Lakers and looking at the fact that Chris Haynes reported that Anthony Davis will not sign an extension with the Lakers, as a lot of people anticipated in the original reporting. Does that surprise you a bit that he's not making that long-term commitment to the Lakers as he heads out there?
No, because what they want to keep that cap space. They go out and get another player. I mean, he's going to be their property at the end of the next year. They don't have to sign him to a long-term deal. But see, if they sign him to a long-term deal, they won't have all that cap space. So it's a great business move by the Lakers. They got Anthony Davis on the contract for 1 year, and now they still got that cap space. So that's strictly a business move by the Lakers, and it's a smart business move.
All right, I know we got you on your first weekend off after the playoffs ended. We appreciate you taking some time spending with us.
No problem, man. You guys keep up the great work. Miss y'all.
No downtime in the NBA, no offseason. Anthony Davis to the LA Lakers. More coming up on Game Time.
It is the blockbuster deal that gives LA yet another megastar and changes the power structure in the NBA right now and perhaps long-term. And for more on the big trade, let's welcome in NBA reporter Dave McMenamin. Dave, all right, so they've got LeBron and Anthony Davis, and that's a pretty good place to start. What now for the Lakers?
And they also have Kyle Kuzma. Let's not fail to mention him because that was such a big part of the trade. They were able to hold on to that young asset. Now, they sent out a lot more in order to get Anthony Davis, but they preserved a ton of cap space, close to the max. Actually, there's a way they can manipulate this based on the timing of the trade goes down and when the draft pick moves on, that they could have the full max. But do they want to use it on one player? And maybe that player is Jimmy Butler or Kemba Walker or Kyrie Irving or obviously the prize of the draft, the free agency class this year is Kawhi Leonard, or do you want to break it up? Because we basically named three players on next year's Lakers. It's Kuzma, it's LeBron, it's AD. You're going to need more depth to get through the 82-game regular season, have a chance in the playoffs, and perhaps the best decision would be to try to look at two or three guys that you could break up that max and acquire rather than put all your money in one player to form a super team.
Indeed, you got to fill out that roster at some point here. And, of course, Dave, the Pelicans are going to do just that. They now have the number 1 pick and the number 4 overall pick. And obviously we know number 1, they will go with Zion. That number 4 pick, what's the scuttlebutt around the league? Are they expected to hold on to that or deal that for other assets?
Look, Kevin, I just reported on ESPN.com that Darius Garland, the point guard out of Vanderbilt, who happens to be a Clutch client just like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, is working out or has worked out for some teams privately in Los Angeles this week, including the Cleveland Cavaliers this morning. Now, the Cavaliers have the number 5 pick in the draft, and Darius Garland on most draft boards is slotted to go number 4. So if the Cavs fall in love with him, the Pelicans may have another trade partner right in front of them where they say, hey, you got to trade up to get our number 4 slot that we just got from the Lakers in order to get your guy, and we'll take your number 5 pick and something else. Maybe your later pick in the first round, maybe another young asset that they have on their team, maybe a guy like Jetty Osman, who was David Griffin, was the GM when the Cavs drafted him. But there are certainly some permutations I think that we'll see in the coming days from the Pelicans where this is not the last move that they make.
Pelicans currently have Lonzo Ball and Drew Holiday now on their roster. Dave, as you talk around NBA circles, other executives in this league, what's their reaction to this trade been?
Well, really, there's 2 reactions I've been hearing, Kevin, and my phone's been buzzing all afternoon. It is, wow, the Lakers have a legitimate shot, and that's a heck of a 2-man tandem to start with. And it's also, and not necessarily canceling out the enthusiasm of that statement, but you have to mention that, wow, they gave up a lot. And you look at the draft picks, 3 first-rounders, including number 4 this year. You look at Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, both former number 2 picks who really have just started to scratch the surface of their potential in this league. A guy like Josh Hart, who's considered to be a smart player who plays on both sides of the ball and will probably have a long, fruitful NBA career. It was a major commitment to get their guy, but they got their guy. And, Anthony Davis is in the prime of his career. They're hoping that whatever he brings to the table will maximize the state of play that LeBron is at in year 17 as he turns 35 in December.
Not that next season wasn't going to be interesting, Dave, but it just got a whole lot more interesting for you, my man. That's ESPN Lakers reporter Dave McMenamin hanging with us here on SportsCenter.
On a Saturday, welcome to a fresh edition of SportsCenter. That's Kevin Connors. I'm Michael Leaves. Hard drive full of baseball highlights on the way, but we do start in the NBA where before even the Raptors could leave Vegas to get back to Toronto with the trophy, Kevin, the Lakers and Pelicans pull off a blockbuster.
Right, we've been talking about it now for a few hours. Anthony Davis is a teammate of LeBron James.
Yes.
Incredible.
It happened.
It happened, indeed, went down. The Lakers get their megastar to pair with LeBron. They also get to keep Kyle Kuzma. In return, the Pelicans get Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks, including the 4th overall pick in Thursday's draft. That now gives them the top pick and the 4th pick. Because of cap ramifications, the deal won't become official until sometime in July. Woj broke the story for us. He joins us now. Woj, how did this deal get done?
Well, ultimately, both teams needed each other on this one. Anthony Davis had made it clear that he really only wanted to re-sign with the Lakers in free agency next year. And yet New Orleans got a massive haul back from L.A. for Anthony Davis. This was a trade the Lakers had to make. They are not a front runner for any big free agent. And getting Anthony Davis under contract for the next year and then essentially committed to signing long-term gives LeBron James, a star-powered teammate, and it gives the Lakers a chance to now be in the conversation among Western Conference contenders. They can continue to improve this roster in free agency and trades, and now New Orleans has a tremendous jump start on a rebuild, really a rebooting post-AD.
You mentioned it. Davis is a free agent following next season, though he's now not eligible for the Supermax from L.A. How then do the Lakers handle his contract plans?
Well, he could sign an extension this summer. It doesn't make any sense financially. He's eligible to make much more next year. This is what he wanted. This is what his agent, Rich Paul, wanted, was the chance to play with LeBron in L.A. And so he'll sign that extension next summer if all goes according to plan in LA this year. And David Griffin in New Orleans has the makings of a very good Western Conference playoff team already. They're going to shop around that 4th overall pick that came in the trade from LA in next Thursday's draft, and they're going to try to turn that into another quality veteran starter that they can plug into, a completely reshaped lineup with the Pels.
Yeah, they get 2 starters from the Lakers. They also own the number 1 overall pick, obviously, expected to go with Zion. We'll talk about them just in just a minute here again, Woj. What's next now for the Lakers?
Well, they'll get out into free agency this, later this month, June 30th, and see if they can get involved with one of the big players on the market. Kemba Walker from Charlotte, they could certainly plug him in at point guard. If he doesn't re-sign with the Hornets, he's a player that will be available. Teams like Dallas, New York have had interest in him. And, there's a lot of teams in the marketplace looking for point guards this summer. But among KD, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, the Lakers have not been a significant consideration. Obviously, KD and Klay, it's changed. The landscape's changed for them with their injuries. Jimmy Butler's another player. If they are unable to come to terms on a new deal in Philadelphia, Jimmy Butler's a player that I think there would be some mutual interest on in LA. But getting AD in place is huge for them. They have their cornerstone player to carry on even post LeBron James.
Woj, what are you hearing around the league from other teams, other executives about this trade?
Well, first of all, that the Lakers had to do it. This was a player that they had to keep giving on with Dave Griffin in New Orleans to get a deal done. Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss ultimately did that. 3 first-round picks is a significant price, and especially having one in the top 5 here this year. And for New Orleans, I think the feeling was for a team that may not have had all the leverage in the world in trading AD, that David Griffin really got back a tremendous haul. If you look back the last decade, even beyond that, of what teams have been able to get for a single player in a trade, this ranks up among them. Brandon Ingram still has a chance to be a very good player in the NBA, and New Orleans really excited about Lonzo Ball, him being in better condition, being a player who they hope will be healthier and they can plug right in. You know, the idea of some lob passes between Lonzo, Zion Williamson, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, massive haul that the Pelicans get back. Woj broke the story. Anthony Davis is a Laker. Adrian Wojnarowski, many thanks. And, of course, the greatest Laker of all time, the incomparable Magic Johnson, chimed in on Twitter with 4 different tweets on the trade. This was great. He initially goes, great job by owner Jeannie Buss bringing Anthony Davis to the Lakers. And then moments later, Laker Nation, you wanted the great Jeannie Buss to step up and bring a championship team back to LA, and she's doing just that. Still moments later, and the Lakers still have over $30 million of cap space to spend on free agents. At long last, he gets to his good buddy Rob Pelinka. A great trade, Rob Pelinka. Although you got to give Magic credit, he did step up, did give him a